If you have questions, concerns, and are just lost when it comes to planning for retirement, meet Steve Hoyle and Derrick Caldwell of the Hoyle Financial Group. I read in a recent survey, it found that Americans age 50 and older who are not yet retired, they don't even expect to retire. And that's because more than 60% of people in that group, they haven't consulted financial professionals like yourself, Derrick and Steve. So, having somebody come in as early as possible, whether you're 21, 31, 50, 55, I mean, this is essential to having success. Would you agree?
So, yeah, Jess, absolutely. As you go through life, there are many instances, even with mortgages, that people in their 50s come to me, hey, should I buy that vacation home and things like that? That's where a financial professional comes in handy. So it's not just about the retirement, even though that's the main focus for a lot of people, but it's help along the way. And getting started early and spending time with a financial professional is key to that. It breaks my heart, honestly, right, Steve? I mean, hearing people in their 50s talk about, I'm never going to retire, I'm just going to work till I die. I guarantee you haven't sat down with us and looked at a plan, because I could put a plan together for you that'll impact your life. I'm not going to say you're going to retire tomorrow. I'm not going to say you're going to retire 10 years from now, but I will give you a path to financial success. And that's the big thing that people are missing, because they don't have that. Most of the time, it's a psychology thing. They don't have confidence that they have a path to doing that, so they don't even try.
Yeah, but Derrick, there's a lot of people that have the money saved, but they don't have a plan, so they're working because of the fear of the unknown. They come see us and go, oh my God, why am I still working? We see that a lot. But it's interesting to me how people procrastinate to putting a plan together. The fear of the unknown. It's funny, people come to see us, call us, and they go, why did I not do this 5 years ago when I started listening to you, or 7 years ago? That's the interesting part.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of that, too, is, Steve, like, we're private people. Everybody doesn't like to give away their expenses and hopes and dreams and finances and everything. But I'll tell you, that's all 100% confidential. We're not here to judge. We're here to put a plan together in place for you. When we talk about those things, these are the things we go over: is your expenses, your income, your retirement accounts. We go into life insurance. We go into long-term care. We go into legacy planning for wills, power of attorneys. We are very holistic here, and we do things that a lot of other financial professionals don't, because we want to be a one-stop shop for you that'll take control of your financial future. And the best way to do that, everybody, is to give us a call. Let's sit down. I'll give you a free complimentary retirement analysis. Let's put that picture together for you of what your future looks like. And we can make some adjustments and changes along the way to make sure that you are successful.
When it comes to do-it-yourself projects, I'm guilty like everybody out there. I've gone on YouTube and said, hey, how do I fix the garbage disposal? How do I fix this? And, Steve, you're shaking your head. You seem like you've kind of done the do-it-yourself route when it comes to some home repair.
Oh, Jess, I've done the do-it-yourself and I'm horrible at it. I'm great in the yard. I'm a great gardener, great doing that. And I've painted the house and stuff, but plumbing issues, oh my gosh, it's horrible.
You really have to be careful if you're attempting to do things that you don't necessarily have a license for. Simple things like, even when you're taking down a microwave and you unplug it, it actually still holds a charge and it could fatally shock you. So if you're planning on replacing a microwave, watch yourself. And then, of course, you have gas and electric, which I would never deal with or touch, but there's some folks out there that do. So whether you're installing a gas range or a lighting fixture, working with gas and electricity could turn into a disaster if you're not a licensed electrician or plumber. And 9 times out of 10, if you're trying to tackle something like that, that's so precise, like plumbing and gas and stuff like that, you might end up making it worse than it already was. And then you're spending 2 or 3 times more getting the professional out there, if you know what I mean. And it got me thinking about planning for retirement. It's certainly not a Googleable do-it-yourself project, planning for retirement, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I'll tell you, I love my father-in-law, Jim. I mean, beyond everything. I mean, he's been like a father to me. He's fantastic. But I'll kind of give you a real world example there, is that he is literally like Mike MacGyver. Like, he can do anything. I mean, things I wouldn't even think about. He'll be, oh, yeah, do this, do that, and everything. But it's never quite right, if that makes any sense. Right. Like, it works, and it works up to his level of expertise. But, for instance, he was putting in a whole house generator. He didn't want to pay anybody to do that. So he wired it all himself, did it all, everything. And he tells me, as we're testing this thing, and keep in mind, I just walk up from being at the office and everything. Hey, what are you doing? He tells me this. He's like, yeah, okay, so just to let you know, the first time we do this, you got to hit this switch first, and this other one, because I wired it this way. But if you hit it in the opposite order, it could start a fire.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. Like, and it worked flawlessly and everything, but in his mind, he knew how to do it and everything, so he wasn't that worried about it starting a fire. But the next person, yeah, it is definitely not code. I will tell you that, guys. So it's kind of the same thing with, financial planning and retirement planning is you could do the basics, the outline there, and that's what we see more and more and more. But when I sit down with do-it-yourselfers, there's huge gaps in things that they don't think about because it's not their job. And that's okay, because I'll tell you what, Jess, Steve, if you want a bridge built, who do you call? I mean, there's engineers that do that for a living that we cannot do. We can be retirement planners all day, but there are things that are not in our skill set that we have a basic understanding of maybe, but we don't do it on a daily basis. It's the same thing. I can't do your job. You can't do mine, and that's okay. We all have our strengths and weaknesses in what we do. Steve, how long have you been doing this? 35 years? How do you get 35 years of knowledge by Googling?
Well, but Derrick, what I think it is, our strategy, we've learned from our clients. I mean, not from a textbook of doing it this way. No, we should tweak it, do it like this. Oh, no, I think you're going to need some more emergency fund during those next 10 years. I think that's why our platform works. Ask your broker or whoever you're doing business with, your financial guy, were you here for 2008? It was crazy. I was here for it. I mean, we watched what the ripple effects after 2008 really were in the economy. I watched in the banking years where there were run-on banks and people, how they planned for that. And I think all of those things are really important because I'm going to tell you that I don't care if you vote red, blue, or purple. We're going to have an election coming up, and I'm going to tell you, no matter who wins, I think we're going to have chaos in the U.S. of A.
Yeah, Steve, and you can't really ask that question of financial advisors because you've been in business 35 years. Do you know the percentage of people that are still in our business after 35 years?
That's crazy.
I mean, but it's a very small percentage. We've seen these companies come and go, these advisors come and go, and I'll tell you, if you're listening, you've probably had 3 or 4 different advisors over the last 10 or 20 years. I mean, this is a common theme in our industry. Oh, I talked to my Edward Jones guy, and then he went off and he retired, or he did this, this, and this, and somehow I got this person. And, it's a totally new person. And that happens all the time, that you have to find another advisor or you get just shoveled away into another one. And, or like I said, they just close down completely. So that's what's, great for me, Steve, is you've been in business so long and we have some clients that you've known throughout every stage of retirement and being able to speak to that. You're going into a retirement stage. So you've seen it, you're doing it. That's a great experience for all of our clients, hands down.
So I think the other interesting thing is, Derrick, not have I been there so long, but our team has been there so long. We have a lady that's been with us 9 years that is a new business. During those years, she went out and got a mechanical engineering degree, was going to leave us and become a mechanical engineer, but she loves what she does so much, and we made it so rewarding to her because she's so much an integral part of our secret sauce. She's still with us, and I sure don't think she's going anywhere. And I think having people that know our clients in and out, know the process, they'll come back and say, have you ever thought about doing it like this? But that's the great thing about having people that have been with you a long time.
Financial author and speaker Susie Orman, she is constantly warning people about retirement. Her latest is, if you think you're ready to retire, think again. She says for most Americans, their savings will only last about 3 years. And she also adds, the greatest threat to your comfort in retirement, it's not the stock market, it's not how much you've saved or even some crazy spending. It's all about not having a plan. So, Derrick and Steve, I'm sure you've met with people that they've been good savers, they think they've got it all figured out, but at the end, they don't have a plan.
That's exactly right, Jess. Did you plan to fail or fail to plan? We see it all the time. Then we also see do-it-yourselfers that come in that say, wait a minute, I can't even afford to get my air conditioner fixed because I have no cash, because they tied up all their money. They don't have a plan. They don't have a well thought out plan. And I think it all starts with planning. I mean, it's that added peace of mind you get when you have a written plan, not just a plan that's up here, Jess, but one that's written down. If this happens, I'm going to do this. A few years ago, we had a couple that he was a month from retiring at Pantex. They had gone out and bought a huge RV. Their house was paid for. They had one kid. Everything was set up for them. And he was riding a motorcycle, and he was driving down the street and hit a car head on and died on the scene.
Oh, my gosh.
Jeez. And, we're still working with her, but he had saved lots of money. The plan kind of took a lot of twists and turns to it, but they had a plan. And you know what? She's fine today. She's had some hard times, some adjustments. It's interesting, Jess, when you think about a couple that opposite attract, he was the one that kind of controlled the purse strings. So when you have somebody not doing that, they're out buying fur coats or doing crazy things. And so we see that a lot, but she's had to make adjustments along the way, but they had planned so well. She's great today. So, I just think things happen. And when you have that plan, you can make it. Derrick, didn't you agree?
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's one of the greatest things you could do for somebody in that kind of horrific situation is say, hey, remember, we've already talked through this.
Right.
We've already ran analysis and we've done everything. We've put your portfolio together. In this case, she lost her husband. You're going to be okay. And that's something where that's super powerful, especially if you're in that situation and you're having to deal with funerals and everything like that. And what's the biggest thing? Everybody's fear is running out of money. Plain and simple, right? And so without a clear goal and focus, what people do a lot of times is that they just start shoving away money. They don't know how much they need or what their income is going to be in retirement, what their expenses are. And Steve, we talk about a lot of time about, stress tests in people's portfolios. If you're concerned about a 2008 happening again, which let's be clear here, it will happen sometime in the next 30 years, guys. The market
or 30
will
days, we don't know which.
Yeah. I mean, the market will have corrections and there will be recessions and things along the way, but there'll also be bull markets, things like that. But call me. Let's stress test your portfolio. If you want to see what your portfolio would do in a 2008 situation, we can do that for you. That's one of the things about making sure that your portfolio and your plan is sound. Steve, that I remember that lady coming in, and it's part of our solution for them were annuities. And what they say at the start, like, oh no, my dad had an annuity, and he didn't like it, everything. But what they were describing, they wanted additional safety, they wanted higher growth potential, and they wanted an income plan that they could rely on. And I remember, Steve, because you're like, well, that's an annuity, ma'am.
But Derrick, people want all the attributes of an annuity, but they don't want an annuity. It's so crazy. And what people don't understand is 80% of the pensions out there are their company buying an annuity for them. I mean, that's what it is. So I mean, we can package it however we want to, but it's an annuity. And it's interesting, but this isn't your father or your grandfather's annuity, what we have today. We have caps where you can make up to 15% a year with no downside risk. Sign me up. It's just incredible how the landscape has changed out there. And I think when you couple a plan with a great strategy and then you have level-headed money usage, I think that's what really comes together and makes it successful. So many people want to talk about a plan. They don't want to be realistic. People come in and say, I haven't saved anything. They'll call our radio show and I want to talk about a plan. Well, I'm going to save 20% of what I make the next 5 years, but you haven't saved anything the past 5 years. It's not going to happen in a real world.
And Steve, you're exactly right. Putting a plan together is all about also being proactive, right? I mean, take it to any analogy you want. Tiger Woods didn't become Tiger Woods overnight, right? It took years and years and years of building that. Same thing with your retirement. It takes a while to kind of put a plan in motion and let the income build and different tools and strategies that are going to help build that plan that's going to sustain you for the rest of your life. The number one fear is, of course, running out of money. And then, of course, when you transition in retirement, the next question is, well, wait a minute, how do I replace that paycheck that I've been used to getting every 2 weeks Is there a way to create a paycheck in retirement? And correct me if I'm wrong, Derek and Steve, but an annuity could be a possible way to replace that paycheck.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what actually Steve's been saying that for 30 years. You've been talking about that. So,
but Derek, it's interesting is we have income strategies that the day you retire, if you get paid every 2 weeks or every month, we can make the EFT come the next 2 weeks and come every 2 weeks for the rest of your life and the rest of your spouse's life. And what I find for people is they work so long, they punch the clock so long, they become very habit driven. So we need to duplicate that. It needs to be comfortable. It needs to be intuitive. That's in that plan. It needs to be realistic most of all. Derek, I think the other reason why a lot of people don't retire is they don't have an emergency fund. They have a lot of money in savings, but they don't know how they're going to access it. When we help them figure that out, there's so many neat little ways we figured out. People will come to see us work in the oil field. They'll have $3.5 million, and they live just paycheck to paycheck every month. They make their charger payment, they make their big pickup payment, and they have zero cash. And when we help them create that emergency fund, and it's so easy to do, it's that added peace of mind. We talk about stress testing your portfolio, but one of the things we do a lot, Jess, is we stress test your marriage. What I find is it's true. When we figure out, let's just pay off that pickup, let's pay off that charger, and then you become your own bank kind of, where each time you get paid or you're getting income in retirement, save some of that money. So when you need a new car, you do it that way. And then when you have that money in savings, I see great marriages. People are a lot happier. And I laugh about this all the time and thought I get tired of hearing it. But people come in to see us and they sit on opposite sides of the conference table. And as we start getting the big elephant out of the room called money figured out, they leave, they walk out together, they hold hands. My favorite thing that happens through that process is we so often see couples walk outside, maybe they're in different cars, and they stand out at their car and they talk a while, because they're able to get that huge thing because, money's such a problem between people. So the psychology of money is everything in retirement. So it's like Derek talks about. Susie Orman says, have a plan. Let's figure out what kind of plan. Let's use an annuity or something else to have the income plan. Let's figure out the savings. Let's figure out your emergency money. We can make it happen. You can retire, and you can retire well. That's what it's about. We've been doing it for 35 years. Let us do it for you. It's so important. Go to retiretexasstyle.com. People call in and say, what does retire Texas style mean? Well, what does it mean to you? To me, it means retire better, retire happier, retire with confidence. Everything in Texas we do bigger and better. We're going to do that for you. Absolutely.
If you'd like to sit down with Steve and Derek or a member of the Hoyle Financial Group, visit retiretexasstyle.com.
Investment advice offered through Hoyle Wealth Management, a Texas-registered investment advisor able to provide investment advice in states where it's registered, exempt, or excluded from registration. Content contained herein should not be construed as an offer or solicitation for investment advice or for the purchase or sale of any security, insurance, or other investment product. Investments involve the risk of loss, including possible loss of principal. Please consult with a qualified financial, tax, accounting, or legal professional before implementing any ideas or strategies discussed here. Content provided is obtained from sources believed to be reliable but cannot be guaranteed as to its accuracy or completeness. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities offered through Steve Hoyle, Texas Insurance License 716036. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Steve Hoyle is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Steve Hoyle is licensed in your state, please call 806-371-9473.